Good morning and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Eric Williams, a member of this beloved congregation, and I'm joined today by service leader Scott Yeomans. In pre-recorded segments, Scott will guide us through an exploration of Taoist, Buddhist, and Hindu sources in our UU tradition, while he's off camping in the mountains with others of our fellowship. Tad Koriath and Emily Jarowski have outdone themselves creating beautiful music, and our steadfast tech ushers Cameron Weiss, Don Price, and Bill Beachley are here to help our online services run smoothly. And I'm joined by all of you, for without you, there would be no fellowship. As I say the welcome words today, I invite you to shift into gallery view if you haven't done so already, and scroll through the screen so you can experience the lovely diversity of this congregation. You are welcome here today in all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you express gender, in all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living and the places you are from, you are welcome here. Christian, pagan, humanist, Jew, Buddhist, Taoist, Hindu, mystic, Muslim, Unitarian Universalist, with all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or sorrow, you're welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. Following today's service, you have the option of staying in this Zoom room for the coffee hour or joining the School of Spirit coffee hour that you'll see in the chat now and at the end of the service. If you're new to us, we're glad you're here. And we hope that even on Zoom, you can still experience some of the warmth and love of this fellowship. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. In the chat window, you'll see the link to our first-time visitors page. That page has a link to our visitor information form, which invites you to tell us about yourself and to request info about our activities. Or email your contact info to our office manager, Carol, at officemanager@bvuuf.org. Carol's address is in the chat window as well. And check out our fellowship calendar and Connections Weekly, which lists many opportunities to stay connected. Finally, if you're new to us, we invite you to introduce yourself in the chat. We love to know who is among us. To start our time together and to mark this time in this digital space as sacred, I invite you to light your own chalice. Chalices of any kind are welcome, be it a candle, a lamp, or a metaphorical flame in your heart. After you light your chalice, we invite you to tell us in the chat where your chalice burns today, whether that's one of our local communities or places further away. Let me get ready here. You are invited to say these words along with me as I light my chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. Scott will now lead us in the ringing of the Scott will now lead us in the ringing of the second bowl and an introduction to today's topic.
As I sing the bowl again, allow its sound to draw you deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community. I'm Scott Yeomans, and I'll be your service associate today. We're going to explore some of the Dharmic and Taoic sources of faith that have influenced spiritual seekers for centuries. In this summer's reimagining of our sources of faith, Dharmic and Taoic sources get their due by being explicitly named and elevated from the generic phrasing of our current sources. What are these Dharmic and Taoic sources? They are unique threads of religious meaning-making, Dharmic from India and Taoic from East Asia. The Dharmic path branches out with Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, all sharing common concepts such as Dharma and Karma. The East Asian or Taoic traditions branch out to include Taoism, Shintoism, and Confucianism, which share core concepts of spirituality, divinity, and world order. We'll spend some time with these traditions today, specifically three of them: Taoism, Zen Buddhism, and Hinduism. And we'll touch on how they influenced our transcendentalist ancestors in the mid-1800s.
come and find the quiet center in the crowded life we lead. Thank you, Tad and Emily. That was beautiful. To give you a taste of some of the sacred Eastern texts we mentioned today, Scott and I put together this video of readings from Taoism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. This is a reading from the Tao Te Ching, written in China by Lao Tzu in the 5th century BC. There are 81 such chapters in the Tao Te Ching. Chapter 1. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations spring from the same source, the gateway to all understanding. Here is another, Chapter 2. Every being in the universe is an expression of the Tao. It springs into existence unconscious, perfect, free, takes on a physical body, lets circumstances complete it. That is why every being spontaneously honors the Tao. The Tao gives birth to all beings, nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things.
An excerpt from Awakened One's Vow by Zen Master Tori. When I look through awakened eyes at the real form of this universe, all that appears is the never-ending, never-failing manifestation of the mysterious unfolding of truth. In any event, in any moment, and any place, none can be other than the mysterious revelation of the interplay of this glorious light. This realization has been the transformational moment causing all of our masters and mentors, matriarchs and patriarchs, to experience true freedom and joy beyond comprehension, and to then extend tender care with a worshiping heart to all beings, beasts and birds, trees and flowers, even rocks and waters.
This is a reading from the Bhagavad Gita, the seminal Vedic text from a few hundred years before Christ. Those who realize true wisdom, wrapped within this clear awareness, see me as the universe's origin, imperishable. All their words and all their actions issue from the depths of worship. Held in my embrace, they know me as a woman knows her lover. Creatures rise, creatures vanish. I alone am real, Arjuna, looking out, amused from deep within the eyes of every creature. I am the object of all knowledge, father of the world, its mother, source of all things, of impure and pure, of holiness and horror. I am the goal, the root, the witness, home and refuge, dearest friend, creation and annihilation, everlasting seed and treasure. I am the radiance of the sun. I open or withhold rain clouds. I am immortality and death, am being and non-being. I am the self, Arjuna, seated in the heart of every creature. I am the origin, the middle, and the end that all must come to. Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and of this community by giving half our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, we are giving to the Boulder County branch of the NAACP. The mission of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of all persons and to eliminate race-based discrimination. The Boulder County branch, chartered in 2017, aims to further this mission by working with agencies throughout the county in education, community engagement, and criminal justice. You can find out more and become a member by going to the website listed in the chat. As the virtual plate passes, please give as generously as you are able. Tad and Emily have composed an original kirtan song for our offertory. The Sanskrit words mean, "Warrior goddess, I pray to you." Tad says, this mantra calls upon the Shakti, the divine feminine power. Kali and Durga are warrior goddesses known to protect from evil. Durga also helps people in distress and is known for her fearlessness, patience, and humor. Kali and Durga are honored for destroying the negative and protecting the pious, so the mantra can be used for those purposes. As we listen to Tad and Emily's joyous music, we invite you to reflect on this question and comment in the chat window if you wish. It is said that our thoughts create our world. What worlds are your thoughts creating this week? Let me say that again, I kind of botched it. The question is, what worlds are your thoughts creating this week? And now Tad and Emily and their beautiful song.
Kali Durge Namo Namah Kali Durge Namo Namah Kali Durge Namo Namah Kali Durge Namo Namah
for the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice into this world, and for the Boulder County chapter of the NAACP, we gratefully receive and dedicate these offerings.
And now we sing.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. Don will remind you of how to let us know you'd like to share. When you do, whether by voice or by chat, please tell us your name and where you live, and briefly let us know what is in your heart today. I'll put a stone in our sacred waters on your behalf. And now I will add one more stone for any joy or concern still in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, knowing that we are bound together in this community and in the web of life. May we draw on the love of this community to reach out to those in grief and pain. May we be wrapped in comfort, warmed by connection, and reminded we are not alone in this troubled world. It's been almost 5 months since the coronavirus pandemic forced this fellowship to suspend in-person services and begin meeting only by Zoom. 3 months since George Floyd's senseless death at the hands of police in Minneapolis. And 12 days since the US pandemic deaths passed the 150,000 mark. Many of us are weary and worried. Weary of masks and isolation, worried for our health, our families, our economy, even our democracy. Yet this is also a time for the hot light of truth to shine on systemic social injustice, a time for a sustaining movement of change that may yet lead us to a better tomorrow. How remarkable that we are alive now, during this singular moment of history, unlike any in our lifetime. What better time to embrace the oneness and beauty of our miraculous existence, as these ancient practices we are discussing today urge us to do. May it be so.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me.
While in Catholic high school, my world religions class introduced me to a variety of traditions. Of all of them, Taoism captured my attention and imagination, and even led me to start an online chat group that lasted over 2 years. The Tao Te Ching was like a puzzle to solve, and each chapter offered a new realization about the great mysteries of life once I unlocked it. Written at the end of the 6th century, the Tao Te Ching is a collection of 81 chapters that speak to the mystery of creation while looking to nature for guidance on how to live and how to lead. Chapter 43. The reason the sea can govern 100 rivers is because it has mastered being lower. Thus it can govern 100 rivers. Thus, if a sage would be above the people, he should speak as if he were below them. If he would be before them, he should act if he were behind them. Thus, when the sage is above, the people are not burdened, and when he is in front, the people are not hindered. Yen Sun offers this reflection of chapter 43. He says, rivers don't flow toward the sea because of the sea's reputation or its power, but because the sea does nothing and seeks nothing. Humility is valued over power. One of the principles of Taoism is Wu Wei, or effortless action, illustrated here in chapter 63. Act without acting. Work without working. Taste without tasting. Great and small, many or few, repay each wrong with virtue. Plan for the hard while it is easy. Work on the great while it is small. The hardest task in the world begins easy. The greatest goal in the world begins small. Scholar Ho Sheng Kong says about this chapter, to act without acting means to only do what is natural. To work without working means to avoid trouble by preparing in advance. To taste without tasting means to taste the meaning of the Tao through meditation. The Tao of Pu author Benjamin Hoff describes it this way. The efficiency of Wu Wei is like that of water flowing over and around rocks in its path, not the mechanical straight line approach that usually ends up short-circuiting natural laws, but one that evolves from an inner sensitivity to the natural rhythm of things. In my own life, I relearn the lesson of Wu Wei, effortless action, again and again. I find that sometimes too much striving or overthinking can go against the natural flow, like pushing a rope through a pulley or paddling upstream. It can be difficult in the moment to follow the flow of nature, whether during an important or challenging conversation, driving in traffic, or charting my education or career path. The desire for one outcome or another can cloud what is unfolding naturally in the moment. Clinging to our desires, we can find ourselves off the path. Let's move now to the Dharmic source of Buddhism, and Zen Buddhism in particular. I was interested in Zen for a long time before I finally got serious about a decade ago and attended my first sesshin. This is an extended period of meditation, usually lasting a week. 40 of us sat together for 6 days. The anticipation, or rather the expectation, especially from newcomers like myself, was palpable. What would happen? There was also a sense of, this idea that there would be an opportunity for enlightenment or waking up or something, and part of me wanted that. whatever it was. After all, we had 6 days to achieve enlightenment. Zen is a form of Buddhism, strongly influenced by Taoism. It de-emphasizes knowledge of sutras and doctrines in favor of direct experience. The historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, lived during the 6th century before Common Era. After he experienced awakening, he taught the philosophy and practical disciplines that he used to liberate himself, including these 3 key truths: that everything and everyone is a fleeting gift that will pass, impermanence; that this body, that in this body we will experience both physical and psychological pain, suffering; and that we are empty of any permanent self-nature, selflessness. Master Rinzai addressed his students in the 9th century by saying, "Virtuous ones, do not use your minds mistakenly. The great sea does not need more dead bodies. You yourself raise the obstructions that impede your minds. When the sky above has no clouds, the bright heavens shine everywhere." What is our essential self-nature, and how might we understand our selflessness? Master Boshui from the 14th century offers this guiding question: who is hearing? Your physical being doesn't hear, nor does the void. Then what does? Strive to find out. Put aside rational intellect. Give up all technique. Just get rid of the notion of self. Who is hearing? Just get rid of the notion of self? We spend years building that self up, right? And now they want us to get rid of it? And yet, that is what Zen teaches and what the practice of meditation can lead to. Let's turn our attention to the Dharmic tradition of Hinduism now. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the most influential and widely read of the Hindu scriptures written during the 2nd century before Common Era. It is a series of dialogues between the warrior prince Arjuna, who is about to ride into battle, and his charioteer and confidant Krishna, who is also an incarnation of the divine. Pretty convenient. In chapter 2 of the Gita, Arjuna is struggling with the need to go into battle. Krishna instructs our young warrior on the lessons of impermanence and of the timelessness of his soul. If I kill them, says Arjuna, I would not care to live. It would be better if I killed myself. I don't know which way to turn. Either way, winning or losing, I lose. Krishna, in his true role as the divine teacher, responds, "You may grieve sincerely, Arjuna, but it is without cause. Your words may seem wise, but the truly wise grieves neither for the living nor the dead." There has never been a time when I or you or any of these kings and soldiers here did not exist. And there will never be a time when we cease to exist. Physical bodies appear and disappear, but not the true self that lives within them. The Gita later has Krishna describe the practice of meditation. The method of meditation, he says, includes locating a clean spot to sit, neither too high or too low. The meditator strives to still all thoughts and sensations, thus cleansing the mind, returning it to its original state, and inviting God to enter. While meditating, sit up straight, keep your body still, and keep your eyes from wandering by gazing at the tip of your nose, or close your eyes and focus on the center of your spiritual consciousness between your eyebrows. Remain in perfect calmness with your thoughts fixed on me, the divine. The process of meditation doesn't seem to have changed so much, has it? While the Gita has not been one of my primary spiritual lights, the Hindu practice of kirtan, a form of repetitive chanting, has been an important part of my path. Practicing kirtan as an embodied prayer in a crowd of others doing the same thing, engaging my breath and voice and sometimes dancing. At times, it's possible to lose oneself in the rhythms and vibrations of the chanting. Let us turn our attention now to how these traditions have influenced the Transcendentalist movement and Unitarian Universalism. In the mid-1830s, a group of New England ministers, intellectuals, and friends formed a club to discuss religion and spirituality, social and education reform, the abolition of slavery, and more. The most well-known of the group today are Ralph Waldo Emerson, a Unitarian minister, Henry David Thoreau, who famously lived alone in the woods at Walden, and Margaret Fuller, who wrote the pioneering feminist book Women of the 19th Century and was the first editor of the Transcendentalist magazine, The Dial. They were at the leading progressive edge of Unitarianism in their day during the mid-1800s and were the most open to learning about other religious traditions. Transcendentalist Elizabeth Peabody translated and was first to publish excerpts from the Buddhist Lotus Sutra in America. Yet even with their interests in other faiths, most still thought their Unitarianism was superior to other traditions and focused on Unitarian Christianity. Emerson and Thoreau were the exceptions. Unlike the others, they were inspired to allow the religious ideas and philosophies of India and East Asia to influence their thinking, their actions, and their spirituality. Emerson, in particular, was well read in Hindu scripture, and after reading through the Gita, he wrote this in his journal: "The first of books. It was as if an empire spoke to us. Nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent. The voice of an old intelligence, which in another age and climate had pondered over and disposed of the same questions which exercise us." Many of his essays are influenced by what he read in Hindu scripture, as well as scriptures of other faiths, and I encourage you to read or reread Nature or Self-Reliance. Thoreau was particularly drawn to the Gita's passages on practical living and spiritual growth. In 1841, before his time at Walden, he had been reading passages from the Gita and wrote this in his journal: "I want to go soon and live away by the pond, where I shall hear only the wind whispering among the reeds. It will be a success if I shall have left myself behind." 4 years later, he went to Walden Pond to try to live such a life. His book Walden has several references to his learnings, and I invite you to revisit the chapter on solitude, among others. Transcendentalism continued to influence Unitarianism long after they stopped meeting. Their ethical and mystical values are embedded now in our principles and sources of faith. Many congregations have a meditation group, and the next time you skim through our hymnal, notice all the readings from other religions. Also, our continued respect for other religions helps provide a home for people who identify with more than one religion, such as Jewish Buddhists or pagan Christian mystics. Now, back to the week-long Zen sesshin. I was there on the cushion for 6 days, and it took 4 days for me to let go of everything. To let go of the exception of having something happen. Arguably, that only left a day and a half for enlightenment, but seriously, I don't know that I actually achieved anything like enlightenment on the cushion, or that there was anything to achieve. But I got what I came for, a sense of peace that is almost always accessible, and a supportive community that I continue to practice with. Here's a reflection I wrote shortly after completing this session. There is awareness of something infinite and witnessing, of what it means to be infinite and witnessing. For a moment, there was awareness of what it means to simultaneously have witnessed everything that has come before, to witness everything in this moment, and to continue witnessing everything infinitely into the future. My time on the cushion was transformative. And in my experience, even sitting for just a few minutes a day, a few days a week, is worthwhile. May these glimpses of Dharmic and Taoic traditions and experiences encourage your continued spiritual growth and happiness. Blessings to you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Scott. That was really beautiful. Please join me in saying these words as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish the chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Let us close this sacred time together with the words of William R. Murray. These are the days that have been given us. Let us rejoice and be glad in them. These are the days of our lives. Let us live them well in love and service. These are the days of mystery and wonder. Let us cherish and celebrate them in gratitude together. These are the days that have been given us. Let us make them stories worth telling to those who come after us. May it be so.